Dropkick on My Devil is a horror comedy anime focused around Jashin-chan, who is a snake demon who was summoned to Earth by Yuani, a girl who is into the occult. Yuani does not know how to send Jashin back to hell, so for Jashin to be sent back, she has to kill Yuani, her summoner. However, Jashin is incredibly incompetent at killing her, and since she is immortal and can regenerate, Yuani can punish her in whatever gruesome ways she can think of. The crux of the show, ultimately, is that Jashin attempts to kill Yuani in increasingly bizarre ways and then gets punished by having something gruesome happen to her. It's an okay show, not a 10 out of 10 best of all time, but an adequate seasonal show for killing time that you'll definitely remember. However, in this video I'm not going to be talking about the anime, but rather the third season has just been announced, and a unique way it was financed. So, to compare it, let's look how anime nowadays is usually financed. Anime nowadays is usually financed by a production committee, rather than by the single studio, which is a group of companies that come together to make the anime. They include the obvious names such as the studio behind making the anime, but also include advertisers, merchandisers, and experts in sound design. The reason this is done is to spread the risk of an anime not doing well, so that if an anime does badly, then they lose less money than if they had taken on the entire project themselves. It also allows for specialist companies to improve the anime, as a specialist sound design company would be able to do the sound design for the anime noticeably better than a small on-site sound design an anime studio would have. Companies like Funimation also like being on the production committee, as it can give them permanent overseas rights, attracting more subscribers to their platforms, and allowing for a more stable anime catalogue for their customers. So, how was Dropkick on My Devil financed? Following its second season that aired in spring 2020, Dropkick on My Devil's production committee announced in September that they were going to start a fundraising drive to produce the anime, with the aim to raise 20 million yen, or around $200,000. To encourage people to donate, they gave special rewards to people who donated, such as for 1.1 million yen, you earn the naming rights for the season, or for 220,000 yen, you could become a mod character in the background, along with a host of other rewards. After only 33 hours, they had been able to earn enough to get the project greenlit for 2021, and for the moment, with 55 days left, the Kickstarter sits at 29.5 million yen. So, what does this mean? This means that the production committee behind the anime do not need to especially worry about whether or not the anime will or will not make a profit, seeing as they've already secured funding to produce the anime without the needs for themselves to heavily invest into it. All they have to do is deliver the Kickstarter rewards. They can still make money through the merchandising of the anime and selling the anime to TV networks, meaning that this is seemingly a win-win for everybody. The anime fans are able to directly support their favourite anime and ensure its production, and the production companies themselves have far less financial risk. So the question to ask is this: is this the future for anime funding, seeing as everyone benefits from it? The answer is no. To start off with, large IPs would never need to do this route anyway, as a large IP itself would have a large enough following to produce a high enough turnover to make it worthwhile to produce the anime on its own. So it's unlikely that any mainstream anime would have to resort to using a Kickstarter to fund their anime, similar to Dropkick on My Devil. Secondly, lots of the Kickstarter rewards Dropkick on My Devil offers, such as the naming of the episodes, would not be feasible in a more storied, structured anime, as there's no way that it would allow a donator to name a really important episode. Finally, due to the increasing overseas markets in the rest of Asia and the West, most anime can find funding in the short term to produce a season of anime in the hopes that it would attract a high enough audience to warrant a second season, as was the case with How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, so there's no real need for Kickstarters. However, there is an argument that for riskier IPs such as Magical Senpai that have a small but dedicated fanbase, that they could in fact benefit from this, as they'd be able to provide the safety net for the production committee to produce the anime without the risk that they would suffer large financial losses from it. Thus, this Kickstarter method may allow smaller, entertaining IPs, such as Magical Senpai or Killing Bites, produce more seasons of the anime that would otherwise be branded too risky or expensive to be worth it to the production committee. So what should we take away from this? The main takeaway is that anime studios and production committees are looking for more ways to secure their investment in an anime season, and by using Kickstarters they could reduce the financial risk to themselves, and if the Kickstarter fails, then there was not enough interest to warrant a new season to begin with. I doubt major studios will ever use this financing tactic, as they'll have no need to. Instead, expect the production committees of smaller anime to maybe attempt this in the future, and if it leads to more good anime being produced, then I for one have no qualms with them doing this.